Welcome to the Ice Age, folks. Picture this, it's 20,000 years ago, and the world's a giant freezer with a side of misery. You think your winter's bad. Try waking up with frostbite on your toes and a saber-toothed cat eyeing your ass for breakfast. Humans back then weren't sipping oat milk lads, they were dodging death daily. This ain't no cozy Netflix documentary, this is survival, caveman style, and you'd be screwed in 24 hours flat. Let's dive into the frozen hellscape our ancestors called home. First, the weather. Imagine Antarctica, but angrier. Glaciers the size of Texas blanketed half the planet. Temperatures: a balmy -20 Celsius on a good day. Your modern puffer jacket? Useless. You'd be a human popsicle before lunch. The air's so dry your lips crack like a bad Tinder date. And the wind. It's like Mother Nature's personally slapping you with an icy pimp hand. No central heating. No Uggs, just you, some animal hides, and a prayer. Now let's talk landscape. Forget lush forests, it's all tundra and steppe. A fancy way of saying endless frozen dirt. Sparse grass, a few scraggly bushes, and maybe a tree if you're lucky. Food. You're not door-dashing pizza. You've got two options, hunt or starve. And hunting means chasing woolly mammoths, 10-ton hairy tanks with tusks that'll rearrange your face. Good luck with your pointy stick. Chimps, or Homo sapiens if you're feeling fancy, weren't the only players. Neanderthals were around, built like brick shithouses, and they'd probably bench press you for fun. These guys were tough, but even they struggled. Why? Because the Ice Age didn't care about your feelings. Predators ruled. Cave bears, dire wolves, and those smug saber-tooths. Step outside, and you're on the menu. Shelter. You're not booking an Airbnb. Best case, you're in a cave, but it's damp, smells like ass, and you're sharing it with bats and fleas. No cave. You're piling sticks and mammoth bones, draping it with skins, and calling it a mansion. Spoiler, it's not cozy. Fire was your only friend, but starting one's a nightmare. Rubbing sticks takes hours, and if it goes out, you're back to freezing your nuts off. Food's another shit show. Plants. Mostly dead. You're eating roots, berries, or whatever doesn't kill you first. Meat's the main course, but you've got to kill it, skin it, and cook it without burning your camp down. And don't even think about hygiene. No showers, no toothpaste. Just you stinking like a Yeti's armpit. These humans were badass. Though they adapted, innovated, and laughed in the face of frostbite. How? We'll get there, but first, let's set the stage. You, a soft modern human, dropped into this frozen nightmare. Bet you're already crying for a wife. Stick around, because we're about to unpack how these crazy bastards survived, and why you'd be a saber-toothed lunch by sundown. All right, you're still here, shivering in your imaginary Ice Age boots? Let's talk about waking up in this frozen shitstorm. Your alarm clock, a cave bear farting in your face. No snooze button, just a quick prayer you don't get mauled before breakfast. You roll out of your smelly mammoth skin blanket, and your breath's fogging up the cave like a cheap vape pen. First task, don't die of cold. Your outfit's a DIY disaster. Think deer hide leggings and a wolf pelt cape that smells like wet dog. Fashion? Nobody cares. Warmth is the only flex. You're sewing these with bone needles, by the way, and the thread's animal sign. One wrong stitch, and your pants fall apart mid-hunt. Embarrassing and deadly. Now, let's talk morning routine. No Starbucks, no skincare, just splash some glacier water on your face and hope it doesn't freeze your eyebrows off. Teeth. You're brushing with a twig, if at all. Most folks had breath that could knock out a dire wolf. Hunters gnawing at your gut, but last night's dinner, half a roasted hare is gone. Time to hunter, gather or beg your clan for scraps. Clan life's key, by the way. You're not surviving solo unless you're some Rambo caveman. Your group's like a dysfunctional family. There's Grug, the grumpy leader, Zog, the guy who farts too loud, and Ugga, who's better at throwing spears than you'll ever be. They've got your back, but they'll also roast you for screwing up. Speaking of screw-ups, let's talk fire. If it's out, you're in deep shit. You're on your knees, rubbing sticks like a desperate DJ praying for a spark. No spark, enjoy hypothermia. Fire's not just warmth, it's cooking predator repellent, And the only reason you're not eating raw mammoth ass, but fuel's scarce. You're trekking miles for dry twigs or burning dried dung. Yeah, your cave smells like a porta potty, but it's warm, so suck it up. Food's next. You're not vegan. Nobody is. Plants are a side dish at best, and half of them are poisonous. You're learning the hard way, puking your guts out after eating the wrong berry. Meet's the goal, but hunting's a group effort. You're stalking a herd of reindeer, crouching in snow, your balls frozen to your thigh. One wrong move, and you're either starving or trampled. Weapons, sharpened stones tied to sticks. Your aim's gotta be better than your ex's texting skills. Miss? And you're eating dirt for dinner. If you're lucky, you bag a deer. Now you're skinning it with a flint knife, blood up to your elbows. While Zog laughs at your shitty technique, back at camp, you're roasting it over the fire. But don't expect Gordon Ramsay vibes. It's half burnt, half raw. And you're picking fur out of your teeth. Still, you're alive, which is more than most predators can say. But the day's just started, and danger's everywhere. That rustle in the bushes could be a wolf, a rival clan, or just the wind screwing with you. Either way, you're not chilling. Survival's a full-time gig, and you're already flunking. Next up, we'll dive into the art of not becoming lunch, and why your soft ass wouldn't last till noon. So you made it to mid-morning, you lucky bastard. Your stomach's growling louder than a cave lion, and you're already regretting this Ice Age adventure. Let's talk about not becoming a predator's midday snack. The tundra's like a buffet, and you're the main course. Saber-toothed cats. They're not cuddly kitties. One swipe and your face is confetti. Dire wolves hunt in packs, and they're faster than your sorry sprint. Cave bears. They're like grizzlies on steroids. And they don't negotiate. Your only defense is brains, teamwork, and a spear that's basically a glorified toothpick. Rule 1: never wander alone. You're not Bear Grylls. You're more like bear food. Stick with your clan because numbers scare off most beasts. Your group's got lookouts. Probably Oga, who's got eyes like a hawk and zero patience for your whining. She's scanning the horizon while you're tripping over your own frozen feet. If a predator's spotted, you've got two options: fight or flight. Flight's usually smarter, but good luck outrunning a wolf pack on an empty stomach. Fighting's a last resort. You're clutching your spear, heart pounding like a techno beat, while Grug Barks orders the plan. Surround the beast, yell like lunatics, and poke it till it fucks off. Works sometimes unless it's a bear. Then you're just annoying it before it eats you. Weapons are your lifeline, but they're Stone Age, not Iron Man. Flint-tipped spears. Slingshots and maybe a bow if your clan's fancy. Accuracy's everything. Miss your shot, and you're not just embarrassed, you're dead. Practice. Sure, but ammo's limited, and every arrow's a pain in the ass to make. You're carving wood, shaping stone, and praying it doesn't snap mid-fight. Oh, and don't drop your weapon. Fumble that spear, and Zog's never letting you live it down, if you live at all. Predators aren't your only problem. Rival clans are dicks. They want your cave, your food, your women. Territorial beefs get bloody fast. You're not debating rocks, you're chucking, hoping you don't go get brained. Alliances exist, but they're shaky. One bad trade deal, and your friends are stealing your mammoth meat. Trust nobody, not even Zog. He's eyeing your share of the kill. Survival's about vigilance. You're always watching, listening, sniffing the air. That weird smell. Could be a dead animal, a rival's campfire, or your own BO. Every step's a gamble. Thin ice. You're drowning, hidden crevice. You're a goner, even the ground's out to get you. Back at camp, you're not safe either. Predators love sneaking in at night, so you're taking turns on watch duty. Fall asleep. Congrats, you've just invited a wolf to dinner. Fire's your best bouncer, keep it roaring, and most beasts stay away. But if it dies, you're back to square one. Cursing your ancestors for not inventing matches. By now you're exhausted, and it's not even noon. Your clan's prepping for the next hunt, and you're already dreaming of a hot shower. Spoiler, you're not getting one. These Ice Age badasses didn't just survive. They thrived. while you're one bad decision from extinction. Next, we'll explore how they turn this frozen wasteland into a home, and why your pampered ass is already toast. Congrats, you're still breathing. Barely. It's noon, and your Ice Age ass is dragging. Let's talk about making this frozen dump livable. Because home sweet home ain't a thing here. Your cave's your castle, but it's more like a damp, bat-infested shithole. If you're lucky, it's got a narrow entrance to keep out bears and rival clans. No cave, you're building a shelter from scratch, and it's not HGTV. You're stacking mammoth bones. Yes, actual bones, and draping them with hides. It's like a Macabre Iljo set, but one wrong move and your roof's crushing your skull. These shelters are flimsy, leaky, and smell like a slaughterhouse, but they're better than freezing your tits off. Inside, it's no better. Your bed is a pile of furs on the ground, crawling with lice. Privacy. Forget it. You're shacked up with a dozen smelly clammates, and Zog snoring like a dying walrus. Personal space is a fantasy. Everyone's farting, scratching, and arguing over the last scrap of meat. Fire's the centerpiece, your only shot at warmth and cooked food. You're feeding it constantly because if it dies, so do you. But smoke's filling the cave, stinging your eyes, and giving you a cough that sounds like tuberculosis. Ventilation. What's that? You're just hoping you don't pass out and faceplint into the flames. Speaking of flames, cooking's a whole ordeal. No microwaves, no air fryers. Just a stick over a fire. You're roasting whatever you killed, but it's a gamble. Undercook it and you're shitting your brains out for a week. Overcook it and it's charcoal. Either way, you're chewing through gristle and spitting out bones. Food storage. Ha! No fridge. You're drying meat in the sun or burying it in snow. Praying wolves don't sniff it out. Spoilage is your enemy. Eat fast or you're eating maggots. Water's another pain. You're melting snow over the fire or trek into a stream. Hoping it's not frozen or full of mammoth piss. You're drinking it unfiltered, so enjoy your complimentary parasites. Hygiene's a lost cause. Bathing means dunking in icy water, which is basically suicide. You're wiping your ass with leaves. If you're fancy, most folks just stink. And body odor's the least of your worries when survival's on the line. Your clan's got roles though. Grug's the boss, planning hunts. Ugg is crafting tools, because she's a badass you. You're probably on shit duty, scraping hides or hauling firewood. Everyone pulls their weight or they're out. No freeloaders in the Ice Age. Unlike your couch surfing cousin, these shelters weren't just for sleeping. They were workshops, kitchens, and war rooms. You're sharpening spears, sewing clothes, and plotting tomorrow's hunt, all while dodging Zog's elbow in your face. Community kept you alive. Lone wolves died fast, but clans shared food, warmth, and the occasional fist fight over who gets the best fur. By afternoon, you're beat, but there's no Netflix to unwind. You're fixing your shelter, because wind's tearing it apart, or scavenging for anything edible. Every day's a grind, and you're already whining for a hot tub. These Ice Age champs built homes in hell, while you'd be crying over a splinter. Next, we'll dive into hunting like a pro, and why you'd spear yourself in the foot. Afternoon's hitting, and you're still not dead. Impressive, you delicate snowflake. Let's talk hunting, the Ice Age's do or die hustle. Food's not gonna magically appear, and your clan's not running a soup kitchen. You're after big game, woolly mammoths, rhinos, or maybe a herd of reindeer if you're feeling less suicidal. Mammoths are the jackpot, enough meat to feed your crew for weeks, plus bones and hides for your shitty shelter. Problem: they're massive, pissed off, and can squash you like a bug. Hunting's a team sport, and you're the weakest link. Grug's got the plank stalk, surround and strike. You're crouching in snow, breath steaming, trying not to fart and scare the herd. Your spear's heavy, your hands are numb, and Zog's whispering dumb jokes about your aim. One wrong step, and the mammoth's charging, tusks aimed at your junk. The strategy's simple but brutal. You're driving the beast toward a trap, maybe a pit you dug or a cliff. Sounds easy. It's not. Digging a pit in frozen ground takes days, and cliffs aren't always nearby. Most hunts are straight up in bushes. You're chucking spears, hoping to hit something vital. Mammoths don't go down easy. Think tank with a bad attitude, you're aiming for the lungs or heart. But good luck with that when it's stomping toward you. Smaller games less deadly but trickier. Reindeer are fast, and rabbits are basically ninjas. You're setting traps, snares made from sinew or nets woven from grass. Problem is, predators love stealing your catch. You set a trap, a wolf snags your bunny, and you're back to square one. Weapons are your only edge. Flint knives, spears, and ladles. Fancy sticks that make your throws harder. Crafting them's a bitch. You're chipping stone till your fingers bleed, tying it to a shaft with rawhide, and praying it doesn't break mid-hunt. Bows exist, but they're rare. And arrows take forever to make. You're not Legolas, you're more like a drunk toddler with a slingshot. Success means teamwork. Ugga's distracting the beast. Grug's leading the charge and you're just trying not to trip. If you bag the kill, the real work starts. Dragging a 500-pound reindeer through snow ain't fun. And butchering's a gore fest. You're hacking through hide, pulling out guts, and dodging flies. Blood's everywhere, and Zog's still mocking your knife skills. Back at camp. The clan's cheering, meets a party, but screw up the hunt, and everyone's eating bark for dinner. You're starving, grumpy, and smelling like a butcher's dumpster. Hunting's not just about food, it's status. Bring down a mammoth and you're a legend. Miss your shot, you're the clan's punching bag. Women like Ugga could hunt too. So don't pull that men-only crap. Everyone's in on it because hunger doesn't discriminate. By late afternoon, you're wiped, but there's no break. You're preserving meat, tanning hides, or fixing your busted spear. Every hunt's a gamble. Starve, get gored, or win big. These Ice Age badasses were pros. While you'd probably cry when your spear snaps. Next, we'll dive into the social scene. Because even cabin had drama, and you're not ready for their shade. It's late afternoon, and you're somehow not a saber-toothed chew toy yet. Let's dive into Ice Age social life, because cavemen had more drama than reality TV show. Your clan's a tight-knit mess. Think family reunion, but everyone's armed and smells like ass. There's no me time. In the Ice Age, you're stuck with these weirdos 24/7. Grug's the alpha, strutting around like he invented fire. Ugga's the real MVP, multitasking like a boss. Hunting, crafting, and shutting down Zog's dumb ideas. Zog. He's the clan clown, always pulling pranks, like hiding your spear and laughing when you panic. You're the newbie. So everyone's dumping on you. Social status matters. Kill a mammoth. You're the shit. Fuck up a hunt. You're eating last and everyone's side-eyeing you. There's no HR department. You settle beef with fists or a well-aimed rock. But clans aren't just for fighting, they're your lifeline. You share food tools. And body heat when it's -30, it's communism, but with more grunting. Romance, oh, it's messy. No Tinder, just awkward stares by the fire. You're eyeing Thog's sister, but she's built like a linebacker and can out-hunt you. Courtship's simple, bring her a deer leg, and maybe she won't club you. Marriage. More like a survival pact. You're pairing up to share warmth and make mini hunters. Love's nice, but not freezing is better. Kids are everywhere, and they're not coddled. By age 5, they're sharpening sticks and dodging wolves. No iPads, just survival boot camp. Parenting's brutal. Feed them, keep them alive, and hope they don't get eaten. Old folks. Rare. If you're 40, you're basically Yoda, dispensing wisdom and creaking joints. Elders get respect, but they're not babysat. Can't keep up? Tough luck. Communication's another trip. No language like ours, just grunts, gestures, and the occasional of. You're pointing at a mammoth and waving your spear, hoping Zog gets the hint. Misunderstandings are common, and coops can mean a spear in your ass. Storytelling's big, though. At night, you're huddled by the fire, and Grug spinning yarns about the great hunt or the time he punched a bear. It's half bullshit, but it bonds you. Art's popping off too. Cave paintings, think stick figures and mammoths, are the Ice Age Instagram. You're carving bone trinkets or painting with ochre, flexing your creativity while Zog doodles a dick on the wall. Trade's a thing too. Your clan swapping flint for hides with another group. It's tense. Nobody trusts anybody. One bad deal, and you're brawling. Alliances form, but they're flimsier than your shelter. Betrayal's always a risk. And grudges last generations. By evening, you're exhausted from dodging drama and Zog's bad breath. Clan life's a soap opera, but it kept humans alive. You'd piss off Uga in 10 minutes and get exiled. These folks mastered the social game while you're still whining about Wi-Fi. Next, we'll explore nighttime in the Ice Age. Because when the sun drops, shit gets real, and you're not ready for the dark. Sun's dipping, and the Ice Age night's creeping in like a bad ex. You're not ready for this, you soft-ass city slicker. Nighttime's when shit gets real. Darker than your soul after a Twitter ban, colder than your ex's heart, and crawling with things that want to eat you. Your cave's your only shot at surviving till dawn, but it's not exactly a 5-star resort. You're piling on every fur you've got, because it's about to drop to -40. Your teeth are chattering like a shitty maraca, and Zog's hogging the fire. Speaking of fire, it's your lifeline. Let it die, and you're a caveman popsicle. You're taking turns feeding it twigs, dung, or anything that burns, while smoke chokes you like you're at a vape convention. The glow keeps wolves at bay, but it also screams dinner's here to any desperate rival clan. You're on watch duty, clutching your spear, eyes darting at every shadow. That rustle could be wind, a saber tooth, or Zog taking a leak. You're not sleeping deep. Every creak's a potential death sentence. Sleep's a luxury anyway. You're curled up on a lice-infested fur, jammed between Ugger and Grug, who smells like he bathed in mammoth sweat. Personal space, no. You're spooning for warmth, and it's awkward as hell when Zog's ass is in your face. Dreams, more like nightmares about being disemboweled by a cave bear. Food scarce at night. You're gnawing on leftovers, cold chewy meat, or some sad-ass berries. No midnight snacks unless you're raiding the stash. And good luck explaining that to Grug. He'll club you for stealing. Water's a trek to the stream, but it's frozen, so you're melting snow in a hide pouch over the fire. Spill it, and you're licking the dirt floor. Predators love the dark. Wolves are circling, eyes glinting like creepy stalkers. Saber-tooths are stealthy bastards, and one pounce means game over. You're yelling and waving torches to scare them off, but your voice cracks like a prepubescent Karak star. Rival clans are worse. Night's prime time for raids. They want your food, your tools, your cave. You're barricading the entrance with rocks, but it's flimsy. One good rush, and you're fighting for your life in your underwear. Social vibes shift at night. The clan's quieter, huddled close. Grug's telling stories, half to keep morale up, half to flex his ego. Ugga's carving a bone necklace, because even in hell she's got style. Zog's farting tunes, thinking he's hilarious. You're just trying not to cry. Night's also for planning. Tomorrow's hunt, who's on fire duty, who's fixing the shelter. It's all hashed out now. Screw up your job, and the clan's eating you for breakfast metaphorically. Maybe. By midnight, you're own tired but wired on adrenaline. Every sound's a threat, every shadow's a monster. These Ice Age champs slept with one eye open, while you'd be sobbing for a nightlight. Dawn's a lifetime away, and you're already regretting this whole survival thing. Next, we'll unpack how they kept warm, because freezing your balls off ain't just a figure of speech, and you're not cut out for this chill. It's deep into the Ice Age night, and you're shivering like a chihuahua in a snowstorm. Let's talk about staying warm, because freezing to death is a shitty way to go. The cold's a relentless bastard, -40 Celsius, wind slicing through you like a pissed-off samurai. Your modern North Face jacket, it's a cute napkin out here. Ice Age humans were geniuses at not turning into icicles, while you'd be a frozen statue by now. Fire's your MVP, but it's high maintenance. You're scrounging for dry wood in a tundra where trees are rarer than a good ex-post. No wood. You're burning bones or dried mammoth dung. Yeah. Your cave smells like a barnyard from hell, but it's warm, so deal with it. Keeping the fire going's a full-time job. You're taking shifts because if it dies, you're all screwed. Zog's half-assing it, as usual, so you're poking the embers, coughing through smoke and praying it doesn't fizzle out. Clothes are your next defense. No Gore-Tex, just animal hides, deer, wolf, whatever you killed. You're wearing a full-on zoo fur pants, a bear skin cloak, and boots stuffed with grass for insulation. Sewing's a nightmare. Bone needles and sinew thread. One bad stitch and your ass is flapping in the wind. These outfits aren't stylish, they're survival. You're layering like a caveman burrito, but you still feel the cold gnawing your bones. Shelter's critical too. Your cave's drafty, so you're plugging gaps with hides and mud. No cave, your bone and skin, hut's a flimsy piece of crap, rattling in the wind. You're piling snow around it for insulation. Think of glue vibes, but shittier. Inside, you're huddling close because body heat's free. Grug's sweaty armpit in your face. Suck it up, it's keeping you alive. Sleeping's another trick. You're buried under furs, but the ground's like a slab of ice. You're piling grass or pine needles for a mattress, but it's still hard as a Tinder date's heart. You're spooning the clan for warmth, and Zog's bony knees are digging into your back. Good luck dozing off when you're paranoid about wolves and frostbite. Food helps, too. Eating keeps your body furnace burning. You're chowing down on fatty meat. Mammoth's the best, like nature's bacon. Fat's gold, it's calories and warmth. No meat? You're fucked. Because berries ain't cutting it. You're sipping hot water from melted snow, but spill it and your hand's frozen to the cup. Movement's another hack. You're stomping your feet, flapping your arms, anything to keep the blood flowing. Sitting still's a death sentence. Your toes go numb, then your fingers. Then you're a goner? Ugga's out there hauling wood like a beast while you're whining about your chapped lips. These Ice Age pros had it dialed. Fire, furs, food, and hustle. You burn your shelter down trying to light a fire. They laughed at the cold while you're crying for a space heater. Next, we'll dive into tools and tech. Because cabin with the OG Magivers, and you can't even change a tire. Night's still kicking your ass, but let's talk tools. Because Ice Age humans were the ultimate DI kings, and you're out here struggling with a flathead screwdriver. These folks didn't have Home Depot, they built everything from scratch, and their gear was the difference between life and a saber-toothed snack. First up, stone tools. Flint's the star, sharp as hell when napped right. You're bashing rocks together, chipping flakes to make blades, scrapers, or spear tips. Sounds easy. It's not. One wrong hit, and you're slicing your hand or ruining a perfectly good rock. Your fingers are bleeding, Zog's laughing, and you're cursing like a sailor. These tools are gold. A good flint knife cuts hide meat or an enemy's ego. Scrapers clean skins for clothes and burns carved bone like a cabin croquette. Spears are next level. You're tying a flint tip to a wooden shaft with rawhide, praying it holds when you stab a reno at ladles. Think spear throwers. Give you extra oomph. Launching your pointy stick like a budget javelin, bows and arrows, rare, but badass. Crafting them takes weeks, carving wood, shaping stone arrowheads, fletching with feathers. You're not hockey, one shot's all you get before you're wrestling a wolf. Bone tools are clutch too. Needles for sewing, awls for punching holes. Even fish hooks if you're near a river. You're grinding mammoth tusks or deer antlers and it's tedious as hell. Break one. And Ugga's giving you the stink eye for wasting her time. Hides are your 3D printer. You're tanning them with brains. Yeah. Actual animal brains because it makes leather soft. Smells like a zombie's armpit, but it works. You're stretching hides, scraping off fat, and dodging flies while Zog helps by flicking boogers. Cordage is another hack. You're twisting plant fibers or sinew into rope for nets, traps, or binding tools. It's like braiding, but your hands cramp and the fibers snap if you're not careful. Fire starting kits are sacred. You're carrying a flint striker and tinder, dry grass or fungus, in a pouch. Lose it, and you're eating raw meat and freezing your nuts off. These tools weren't just for survival, they were culture. Your clan's passing down napping tricks like family recipes. Ugga's got a signature spear tip, and Grug's hoarding the best flint like a dragon. Trade networks spread the love. Your clan swapping tools for shells or ochre with shady neighbors. It's tense. Like a Black Friday sale but with more clubbing. Maintenance is a bitch. Tools break, dull, or get lost when Zog borrows them. You're constantly sharpening, retying, or starting over. No wonder these folks were jacked. Every task's a CrossFit session. You'd snap a flint in half and cry about it. These cavemen were engineers without degrees, building arsenals from rocks and guts. You're still Googling how to open a pickle jar. Their tech kept them alive, while you'd be a dire wolf's appetizer. Next, we'll explore food prep. Because eating in the Ice Age was a shit show, and you're not ready to choke down mammoth tartare. Dawn's creeping up, but you're still awake, paranoid about wolves and Zog snoring. Let's talk food prep. Because eating in the Ice Age was less bon appetit and more. Don't die of diarrhea. You're not grilling burgers, you're wrestling with raw, bloody meat and praying it doesn't kill you. Meat's your staple. Mammoth, reindeer, whatever you stabbed. First step, butchering. You're hacking through hide with a flint knife, up to your elbows in gore. It's like a horror movie, but you're the chef. Zog's helping by throwing guts at you because he's a dick. You're saving every bit, fat, organs, even the marrow. Waste nothing, or Grug smacking you upside the head. Cooking's a crapshoot. No ovens, it's just fire. You're skewering meat on sticks or tossing it on hot rocks. Timing's everything. Undercook, and you're shitting for days. Overcook, and it's ash. Mammoth's tough as leather, so you're chewing till your jaw's screaming. Fat's the prize, calories and flavor. You're slurping marrow like it's caveman soup. And it's better than your sad kale smoothie. Plants are a gamble, berries, roots, or leaves, if you're lucky. Half are poisonous and there's no WebAD to save you. You're nibbling like a scared hamster, hoping you don't keel over. Ugga's the plant expert, pointing out what's safe while you're gagging on bitter weeds. Fish are a treat if you're near water. You're spearing them or setting nets, but good luck in a frozen river. One slip and you're hypothermic. Preservation's key. Because fridges don't exist. You're drying meat in the sun, smoking it over fire, or burying it in snow. Wolves love your stash, so you're guarding it like it's Fort Knox. Spoiled meat. You're eating it anyway, because starvation's worse. Water's a pain. You're melting snow in a hide pouch, but it's slow, and spills mean you're screwed. Streams are better, but they're often frozen or taste like mammoth piss. No filters, so you're chugging parasites like a champ. Food storage is a group effort. The clans divvying up the kill, and fights break out over who gets the liver. Grug's hogging the best cuts, because he's the boss. You're stuck with gristle, but you're grateful, beat starving. Meals are social though. You're huddled by the fire, passing chunks of meat, telling stories. Zog's farting mid-bite, ruining the vibe. No plates, no forks. You're eating with your hands, blood dripping down your chin. What's that? You're licking your fingers, wiping them on your fur, and calling it clean. Leftovers are rare, but you're saving scraps for tomorrow. Hide pouches or bone containers keep them safe. Ish. Mold's a problem. And you're sniffing meat like a sommelier, hoping it's still good. These Ice Age chefs were resourceful, turning carcasses into feasts while you're burning toast. You gag on raw liver and cry for a fork. They made do with fire and guts while you're whining about no ketchup. Next, we'll dive into health and medicine, because staying alive meant more than dodging bears, and you're not ready for caveman first aid. Morning's breaking, and you're still not Wolf Cho. Miracle of miracles. Let's talk health and medicine, because the Ice Age wasn't exactly a wellness retreat. You're not popping Advil or hitting urgent care. You're dealing with cuts, colds, and broken bones with sticks and hope. Life expectancy, mid-30s if you're lucky. Most folks died from infection, starvation, or a pissed-off mammoth. You're a walking petri dish. Cuts from hunting, burns from fire, and parasites from that sketchy water you drank. No antibiotics, so a scratch could be your death sentence. Infections fester fast, and you're praying it's not gangrene. First aid's brutal. Got a gash, Ugas stitching it with sinew and a bone needle, no anesthesia. You're biting a stick, screaming like a banshee, while Zog's giggling. Burns, they're slathering it with animal fat or plant mush. Sounds gross, but it's their neosporin. Broken bones. They're splinting it with wood and hide. But good luck hunting with a busted arm. Herbs are your pharmacy. Uga's the clan's witch doctor, chewing leaves to make poultices for wounds. Willow bark's their aspirin. Tastes like shit but dulls the pain. Some plants stop bleeding, others fight fever, but screw up the dose, and you're puking or tripping balls. No one's writing this down, it's all oral tradition, and Uga's not sharing her secrets. Disease is a sneaky killer. No vaccines, no masks. Just you coughing up a lung while Grug tells you to man up. Cold spread like wildfire in the cave, and pneumonia is a death wish. Parasites are your roommates. Worms, lice, fleas. You're scratching till you bleed, and there's no shampoo. Diet's another problem. No meat. You're anemic, weak as a kitten. Too many plants. Your gut's a war zone. Teeth are a nightmare. No dentist, just rocks in your food grinding your molars to nubs. Abscess. You're pulling it with a flint tool or dying from the infection. Pain's constant, arthritis from the cold, injuries from hunting. You're hobbling, but there's no sick leave. Mental health. Ha! No therapy. Just Grug yelling. Stop whining. Trauma's real. Watching your buddy get gored sticks with you. You're processing it by painting on cave walls or grunting to the clan. Spiritual healing's big shamans. Probably Uga in a weird mask, are chanting, burning herbs, or waving bones to scare off hovel spirits. Sounds nuts. But it's their Prozac. Surgery. Barely. They're cracking skulls to relieve pressure. Trepanation, baby. Some survived, judging by healed skulls, but you're not volunteering. Childbirth's a gamble. No epidurals, just women like Uga squatting in the cave, pushing through the pain. Complications. Mom and baby might not make it. These Ice Age docs were tough, patching up wounds with guts and grit, while you're crying over a paper cut. You'd faint at the sight of blood and beg for a Band-Aid. They survived without ERs while you're Googling, is this rash normal? Next, we'll explore their smarts, because cavemen weren't dumb. And you're not half as clever as you think. You're still kicking, you frostbitten wonder. Let's talk brains, because Ice Age humans weren't the grunting morons you see in cartoons. These folks were sharp as flint. Outsmarting nature's worst while you're still figuring out IKA instructions. Their smarts were practical, survival demanded it, no PhDs, just raw problem solving. Take hunting, they didn't just chuck spears and pray. They studied animal tracks, memorized migration patterns, and knew when mammoths were too pissed to mess with. Grug's no zoologist, but he could read a hoopprint like a crime scene. Tool making was next level. Napping flints like sculpting with dynamite. One wrong tap. And it's trash. They planned every strike, crafting blades sharper than your kitchen knives. They invented atlatls, basically cabin rocket launchers, to yeet spears harder. That's engineering, not luck. Social intelligence was huge, clans were tight, but drama was real. You're negotiating food shares, settling beefs, and keeping Zog from stealing your furs. No laws, just vibes and the threat of a club to the head. They communicated with grunts and gestures, but it was enough to coordinate hunts and warn about saber-tooth. Some had proto-languages. Simple but clutch were yelling run, dumb boss. Memory was their Google. No notebooks, so they memorized everything. Which plants don't kill you, where the good flint's at, how to fix a busted shelter. Elders were walking hard drives, passing down tips before they croaked. Uga's teaching you herb lore, but you're forgetting it because Zog's drawing dicks on the cave wall. Planning was key. They weren't living day to day like your broke ass. They stockpiled meat, saved tools, and moved camp when game got scarce. That's strategy, not instinct. Art shows their brains too. Cave paintings weren't just doodles. They were stories, maps, or maybe flexing for the gods. Carving a mammoth on bone takes patience and vision. Unlike your stick figure Snapchat, they had culture, rituals, burials, even music. Bone, flutes exist. So imagine Zog tooting a tune while you're freezing. Problem solving was constant. Rivers frozen, They're chopping ice to fish. Shelters leaking their rigging hides like cabin architects. Wolf packs circling. They're building traps or scaring them with fire. No wanting just solutions. You'd be sobbing when your spear breaks, but they're already carving a new one. Their brains were wired for survival, not TikTok. They adapted to a world that hated them, glaciers, predators, starvation, and thrived. Compare that to you. Panicking when your Wi-Fi drops. They're out here inventing tools, taming fire, and building society while you're Googling how to boil water. Don't sleep on their smarts. Neanderthals had bigger brains than us, and Homo sapiens were no slouches. You be the clan's village idiot tripping over your own ego. These Ice Age Einsteins didn't just survive, they laid the groundwork for civilization. Next, we'll dive into their culture. Because cavemen had style stories and some weird-ass beliefs, and you're not ready for their spiritual glow-up. Midday's here, and you're still not a popsicle. Props, you one-y bastard. Let's dive into Ice Age culture. Because these cavemen had more swagger than your average influencer. They weren't just surviving, they were vibing, creating art, and worshiping weird shit. First, art. Cave paintings are their masterpiece. Mammoths, bison, and stick figure hunters splashed in ochre and charcoal. It's not just decor, it's storytelling. Maybe magic to curse a hunt. Uga's painting a deer and it's better than your drunk Karok. Carving's big too. Bone pendants, ivory figurines, even a chunky Venus statue that's basically caveman porn. Zog's chiseling a dick on a rock, because of course he is. Music's in the mix. They're blowing bone flutes, banging rocks, maybe chanting like a prehistoric boy band. Imagine Grug leading a sing along while you're shivering. Rituals were wild. They're burying folks with tools and beads, like sending them to the afterlife with carry on luggage. Some skulls are painted, others smashed. Maybe respect, maybe fuck you. Gary. Shamans are the rock stars, dressed in feathers, tripping on herbs and screaming at spirits. You're skeptical, but when Uga's shaking a rattle and the hunt goes well, you're not arguing. Beliefs, they're worshiping animals, stars, maybe the wind for all we know. No churches, just sacred caves or stones. They're tossing offerings, buns. Tool into lakes, hoping the gods don't screw them over. Superstition's huge, step on a weird rock. Bad juju, kill a bear, you're wearing its teeth for luck. Storytelling's their Netflix. By the fire, Grug spinning tales of epic hunts of the time he fought a saber-tooth, he ran. It's half bullshit, but it glues the clan together. Kids are wide-eyed, Zog's heckling, and you're eating it up. Fashion's a flex too. Fur's functional, but they're pimping it with beads. Shells even dyed ochre. Uga's rocking a wolf pelt cape like it's Paris Fashion Week. Your hide pants are falling apart, and Zog's laughing. Social roles had flair. Hunters were heroes, but gatherers like Uga kept the clan fed when the men fucked up. Elders were sages, kids were mini workers, and shamans were the weird uncles nobody messed with. Trade was their essay. Clans swapped flint shells or shiny rocks over long distances. It's tense. Nobody trusts anybody. And a bad deal means a club to the face. But it spread ideas like proto-globalization. Community was everything. You're sharing meat, furs, even grudges. Feasts were lit. Everyone's gorging on mammoth dancing, maybe hooking up. Betrayal. Rare but deadly, steal food and you're exiled or worse. You'd be the asshole who eats the last berry and gets yeeted. Their culture, that wasn't just survival. It was identity. They laughed, loved, and created while dodging death. You'd paint a frowny face on the cave wall and cry for TikTok. These Ice Age artists and mystics built meaning in a frozen hell while you're whining about cold coffee. Next, we'll talk migration. Because these badasses didn't stay put, and you're not ready for their road trip from hell. Afternoons rolling in, and you're still not bear bait? Shocking. Let's talk migration. Because Ice Age humans didn't just chill in one cave like your lazy ass on the couch. They were nomads. Chasing food across a frozen wasteland that makes your morning commute look like a spy day. Games getting scarce. Glaciers creeping closer. Time to pack up and haul ass. No U-Haul, just you, your clan, and whatever you can carry. You were lugging spears, furs, and that one shiny rock Zog won't shut up about. The tundra's a bitch. Endless snow, hidden crevices, and winds that'll freeze your nuts off. One misstep, and you're plunging into an icy grave. You're following mammoth herds or reindeer? Because where they go, food goes. But tracking's no GPS. Grug's squinting at hoofprints, sniffing the air, and pretending he knows where he's going. Half the time, you're lost, starving, and cursing his name. Predators love migrants. You're a walking buffet, and wolves are trailing you like creepy exes. Saber-tooths? They're waiting for you to trip. You're setting up camp every night, building shitty shelters from bones and hides, only to tear them down at dawn. It's like Coachella, but colder and with more death. Rivers are a nightmare. No bridges, so you're wading through freezing water, praying you don't drown or lose your gear. Kids and elders slow you down, and there's no leave them behind option. Clan's family, even if Zog's farting the whole way. Weather's your enemy. Blizzards hit without warning, burying you in snow. You're digging out, teeth chattering, while Ugg is yelling to keep moving. Starvation's always looming. No gain. You're eating roots or chewing hide like a sad jerky. Water's scarce, streams are frozen, and melting snow takes forever. You're rationing. But Zog's sneaking sips like a dick. Navigation's all instinct. They're using stars, landmarks, even bird patterns. No maps, but they're crossing continents. Europe, Asia, even into the Americas via Beringia, a land bridge colder than your ex's texts. That's thousands of miles, no compass app, just balls and brains. Social ties helped. Clans swapped tips with others like, avoid that valley, it's Wolf City. Trade routes doubled as migration paths, spreading tools and gossip. But rival clans could fuck you up, steal your shit, or worse. You're always on guard, spear ready. Migration wasn't just survival, it was adaptation. They colonized new lands, dodged ice sheets, and outlasted Neanderthals who weren't as mobile. Why move? Safety, or just chasing a better cave? You'd whine about sore feet and die in a snowbank. These Ice Age road warriors trekked through hell, while you're crying over a delayed Uber. Their grit spread humanity across the globe, setting the stage for us. You're not half as tough. Your adventure is forgetting your charger. Next, we'll dive into their teamwork, because clans were the ultimate squad, and you'd be the dead weight they ditch. Sun's dipping and you're still alive? Barely, you clumsy off. Let's talk teamwork, because Ice Age clans were the ultimate squad goals. And you'd be the guy who forgot to show up. Survival wasn't solo. You needed your crew like you need Y. Clans were tight, like a family that fights but still shares the last mammoth rib. Everyone had a role, and slacking meant starvation or a saber-tooth's lunch. Grug's the leader, barking orders like a drill sergeant with a hangover. He's planning hunts, settling disputes, and keeping Zog from burning the cave down. Ugg is the multitasker, hunting, gathering, stitching wounds, and roasting anyone who crosses her Zog. He's the comic relief, but even he pulls his weight when he's not farting up a storm. You're the rookie, so you're on grunt work, holing wood, scraping hides, or babysitting the kids who are tougher than you. Roles weren't rigid though. Women hunted, men gathered. And kids were mini survivors, sharpening sticks by age 6. Elders pitched in with wisdom, like how to avoid that one berry that makes you shit for a week. Teamwork shone in hunts. Taking down a mammoth took planning, guts, and everyone knowing their job. Grug's directing, Ugg is flanking, and you're just trying not to spear yourself. One screw up, and the beast trampling you all. Sharing was the glue. Kill a deer. Everyone eats. Find a flint stash. It's communal. Nope, mine bullshit. Harding got you exiled or clubbed. Even warmth was shared, you're huddling under furs. Zog's B.O. be damned. Fights happen though. Grug's hogging the best meat, or Zog's borrowed your spear. Disputes were settled fast. Yelling fists or Grug's final word. No grudges? Because you're stuck together. Trust was life or death. On a hunt, you're betting your ass Ugg has got your back. Betray the clan. You're out, freezing alone or wolf food. Communication was key even without words. Grunts, gestures, and glares got the point across. Spear that mammoth or Zog, stop being a dick. Didn't need Shakespeare. They had signals. Whistles, hand waves, for ambushes or warnings. Teaching was constant. Ugas showing you how to nap flint, Grugs drilling hunt tactics, and you're learning or dying. No school, just sink or swim mentorship. Teamwork extended beyond the clan. Alliances with other groups meant trade, marriages, or backup against rivals. But trust was thin. One bad trade and you're dodging spears. Feast sealed bonds with clans gorging, swapping stories, and maybe hooking up. You'd be the idiot who spills the stew and starts a brawl. Teamwork wasn't just nice, it was survival. Lone wolves died, clans thrived. They built trust, shared burdens, and laughed through the cold while you're whining about group projects. You trip over a rock and get left behind, while these Ice Age MVPs carried each other through hell. Their unity was stronger than your TikTok followers list. Next, we'll explore their adaptability, because they bent nature to their will, and you're not ready for their flex. Night's creeping back, and you're still not dead. Honestly, I'm impressed, you fragile snowflake. Let's talk adaptability. Because Ice Age humans were the ultimate shapeshifters, bending a frozen hellscape to their will while you're crying over a dead phone battery. The world was a meat grinder. Glaciers, blizzards, and beasts that eat you for breakfast. But these badasses didn't just survive. They thrived by tweaking everything from tools to tactics. Start with the environment. Tundra's a wasteland, but they turned it into a buffet. No game. They're fishing frozen rivers or snaring rabbits. No trees. They're burning bones or dung to stay warm. Caves scarce. They're building huts from mammoth tusks. Like caveman Ikeda, they rid the land, knew where herds roamed, when rivers thawed, and which valleys were wolf traps. You'd get lost in your own backyard. Tools evolved fast. Early spears were basic, but they leveled up to louds and bows, maxing out their DPS like RPG pros. They tailored gear to the job, long blades for butchering, tiny scrapers for hides. Materials ran out, they're carving bone or antler instead. Ugas napping flint like a sculptor, while you're struggling with a can opener. Diet was flexible. Mammoth's king, but if it's gone, they're eating fish, birds, even bugs. Plants were hit or miss, so they learned which roots won't kill you. Starving. They're boiling bones for grease soup. You'd gag on raw liver, they're calling it gourmet. Socially, they adapted too. Clans grew or split based on food. Big herd nearby. They're teaming up with neighbors for mega hunts. Lean times. They're shrinking to save resources. Leadership wasn't fixed. Grug's in charge, but if he fucks up, Uga's taking the reins. No ego, survival trumps pride. Migration was peak adaptability. Glaciers shift. They're trekking hundreds of miles, dodging ice and predators. They colonized Europe, Asia, even crossed Beringia to the Americas. No map, no compass, just grit. You'd whine about blisters. They're laughing at frostbite. They adapted to people Tuval clans. They're trading, marrying, or fighting depending on the vibe. Neanderthals. They're borrowing their tricks or outlasting them. Tech spread fast. See a cool spear? Copy it. Their culture flexed too. Rituals change with the land. Mountain clans worship peaks. River folk loved fish spirits. Art reflected their world. Mammoth carvings in bone country, bison paintings in grasslands. Even belief shifted. Bad hunt. New god, new rules. Failure wasn't an option. Screw up a hunt. They're tweaking the plan, not sulking. Shelter collapse. They're rebuilding smarter. Wolf pack attacks. They're rigging traps. You'd rage quit. They're iterating like startup bros. Their adaptability wasn't just physical. It was mental. They stayed cool under pressure, pivoted fast, and laughed at disaster. You're having a meltdown over a flat tire. These Ice Age chameleons conquered a world that hated them, while you're not surviving a day without Google Maps. Next, we'll dive into their resilience, because they took nature's punches and kept swinging, and you're not ready for their comeback game. It's dark again, and you're still not a dire wolf's dinner. Color me shocked, you shaky-legged newbie. Let's talk resilience. Because Ice Age humans were the Rocky Balboas of prehistory, taking nature's haymakers and spitting in its face. The world was a frozen gauntlet, starvation, predators, and cold that'd make your balls retreat like cowards. But these champs bounce back every time, while you'd be curled up crying over a stubbed toe. Hunger was constant. No mammoth. They're chewing bark or sucking marrow from old bones. Weeks without food, they're still hunting, not whining. You'd raid the clan's stash and get clubbed. Predators were relentless. Saber-tooth mauls your buddy. You're back out there spear ready because crying won't bring him back. Wolves steal your kill. You're setting traps. Not throwing a tantrum? Grug's lost friends, but he's still leading while you quit after one scare. The cold was a bitch. Frostbite's eating your fingers, but they're wrapping them in hides and pushing on. Blizzards bury your camp. They're digging out, rebuilding, and laughing at the snow. You'd be sobbing for a snudgie. Injuries were brutal. Break a leg, they're splinting and hobbling on, not begging for a sick day. Infections, they're slathering herbs, hoping for the best. While you're Googling, is this puss normal? Death was everywhere. Kids, elders, hunters. They mourned, sure, but didn't wallow. Bury the dead, paint a skull, keep moving. Ugga's lost a kid but still gathers roots like a boss. You'd be in therapy forever. Mental grit was their superpower. Trauma from a mammoth stampede. They're painting it on the cave wall, turning pain into art. Clam beef, they're settling it with fists, not grudges. No. Poor Mibes. Survival demanded focus. You'd be tweeting your feelings while a bear eats you. Community-fueled resilience. Clans got your back. Ugga shares her berries, Grug patches your wounds. Even Zog stops farting to help. They leaned on each other, unlike your every man for himself ass. Rituals helped too, chanting, dancing, or tossing bones into a fire gave them hope, like caveman Red Bull. Shamans spun stories of hero ancestors, firing up the clan to keep fighting. Adaptability fed their grit. Hunt fails, they're fishing. Shelter burns, they're building smarter. They didn't sulk, they iterated. You'd give up when your fire fizzles. They're rubbing sticks till their hands bleed. Their bodies were tough too. Constant hunting and trekking made them jacket. Think CrossFit, but with higher stakes. You're winded climbing stairs, they're chasing reindeer for miles. Even kids were resilient, dodging wolves while you're scared of a spider. They didn't just endure, they thrived. Every setback was a lesson, every scar a badge. You die from a splinter. These Ice Age warriors took nature's worst and flipped it the bird, building a future while you're whining about a cold shower. Their resilience was steel. Your tissue paper. Next, we'll explore their innovation. Because they didn't just survive, they invented. And you're not ready for their caveman glow up. Dawn's breaking, and you're still not extinct. Honestly, it's a fluke, you bumbling caveman wannabe. Let's talk innovation. Because Ice Age humans were the OG inventors, cooking up game changers while you're still baffled by a smart thermostat. They didn't have Silicon Valley, but they turned rocks and bones into tech that kept them alive. First tools. Flint knapping wasn't just smashing rocks, it was precision engineering. They crafted razor-sharp blades, spear tips, even micro tools for delicate work. Atlaus. That's caveman ballistics, boosting spear throws like a proto-catapult. Bows and ROs. Late-game genius, turning hunters into snipers. You'd snap a flint and cry. Ugga's out here sculpting arsenals. Fire was their biggest flex. Mastering it wasn't just rubbing sticks. It was chemistry. They knew which would spark best. How to carry embers and used fungus as tinder. No matches, but they're lighting up caves while you're fumbling with a lighter. They cooked hardened spear tips and scared off wolves with flames. Fire was their smartphone. Clothing was high-tech too. Sewing with bone needles and sinew thread. That's culture for survival. They layered furs, stuffed boots with grass, and waterproofed hides with fat. You're shivering in your hoodie, they're strutting in bespoke wolf pelts. Shelters were architectural wins. No caves. They're stacking mammoth bones and hides, insulating with snow. Some built pit houses, digging into the ground for warmth. It's not Frank Lloyd Wright, but it's smarter than your IKEA shelf fail. Food tech was clutch. They smoked meat, dried it, or froze it in snow to beat spoilage. Boiling bones for grace was caveman bone broth. Nutrition hacked. Nets and traps up their game, snagging fish or rabbits while they slept. You'd burn your raiment. They're preserving mammoth for months. Social innovation was slick. They formed clans not just for vibes but efficiency. Division of labor, shared resources, collective defense. Trade networks spread ideas faster than X. See a cool spear tip, copy it, meet a new clan, swap flint or wives. You'd hoard your snacks, they're building economies. Culture was inventive too. Cave art wasn't just pretty, it was communication, maybe magic. Bone flutes and drums. That's music tech boosting morale. Rituals and burials show their thinking beyond survival, pondering life, death, and gods. Zog's carving a figurine, and it's deeper than your TikTok dance. Even medicine was innovative. Willow bark for pain, herbs for wounds. They're basically pharmacists without lab coats. Trepanation, drilling skull holes. Sounds insane but worked sometimes. You'd pop Tylenol and nap, they're performing surgery with rocks. Their innovation wasn't flashy, it was born from necessity. Every tool or tradition was a middle finger to a world trying to kill them. You'd invent a new way to whine. They iterated fast. Break a spear, make a better one. Fail a hunt, try traps. Their creativity wasn't for clout, it was for survival, and it changed humanity's game. You're not half as clever. Your innovation is forgetting your Netflix password. Next, we'll dive into their spirituality, because they had gods, ghosts, and some trippy beliefs, and you're not ready for their cosmic flex. Morning's back, and you're still not a fossil. Pure dumb luck, you trembling mess. Let's talk spirituality, because Ice Age humans weren't just dodging mammoths. They were chasing gods, ghosts, and some wild cosmic vibes. No churches noble, just raw, trippy beliefs that made their frozen world make sense. They worshipped everything, animals, stars, even weird rocks. Why? Nature was a dick, and they needed someone to blame or beg. Bears and mammoths were sacred. Maybe gods in furry form. Kill one, you're wearing its teeth, praying it doesn't haunt your ass. Shamans were the MVPs, like Uga in a feathered cape, tripping on mushrooms and screaming at spirits. They're dancing, chanting, or burning herbs to talk to the other side. Sounds nuts, but when a hunt goes right, you're clapping like a fanboy. Rituals were intense. They're painting skulls, burying folks with spears, or tossing bones into lakes as offerings. Bad hunt, sacrifice a rabbit, maybe a finger if shit's dire. Caves were holy. Think prehistoric cathedrals, Lascaux paintings, not just art, maybe spells to trap a bison's soul. You're skeptical. But Grug's dead serious, and he's got a club, superstition ruled. Step on a weird stone, cursed. See, doom. They're wearing amulets, shells, claws to ward off bad juju. Zog's got a wolf-tooth necklace, swearing it saved him from a lion. You'd laugh, but he's alive, and you're not. Death was a big deal. They're burying bodies with care, decked in beads or ochre like a VIP send-off. Some think it's for the afterlife. Others say it's to stop ghosts from being dicks. Skulls get special treatment, painted, kept, or smashed. You're freaked out, they're just honoring Uncle Thog. Nature was their god. Storms, angry spirits, good harvests. Happy Sky Daddy. They're reading stars or animal guts for omens, like caveman horoscopes. Uga's gutting a deer, saying it predicts a big hunt. You're gagging. She's preaching. Community tied it together. Rituals weren't solo. You're all dancing, singing, or tripping balls around the fire. It's bonding. Like a rave but with more frostbite? Stories were spiritual too. Grug's tales of hero hunters or star beings weren't just entertainment, they're gospel. Teaching kids to respect the hunt or fear the dark. Even art was sacred. Carving a figurine, that's channeling a spirit. Painting a cave, that's praying with colors. Their spirituality wasn't just fluff, it gave them hope. Starving, pray to the mammoth god. Injured, beg the wind spirit. It's their therapy, keeping them sane when life's a shit show. You'd be whining for Xanax, they're shaking rattles and pushing through. Their beliefs weren't dogma, they flexed with the land. Mountain clans loved peaks, river folk worship fish. You pray for Wi-Fi and die in a snowdrift. These Ice Age mystics found meaning in chaos. While you're lost without Google, their faith was raw, real, and kept them fighting. Next, we'll explore their legacy. Because they didn't just survive, they built our world. And you're not ready for their glow up. Midday's hitting. And you're still not a saber-toothed snack. Wild, you slippery bastard. Let's talk legacy. Because Ice Age humans didn't just scrape by. They laid the foundation for your soft-ass modern life. These frozen badasses built the blueprint for humanity, and you're out here taking it for granted. Their biggest win. Survival itself, they outlasted glaciers, predators, and starvation spreading across the globe like roaches with spears. From Africa to Europe, Asia to the Americas, they colonized every corner, no passport, no Yelp reviews. You get lost in a mall, they crossed Beringia. Tools were their game changer. Flint blades at ladles. And bows weren't just weapons. They were tech leaps that made hunting and living easier. They're the reason you're not still chucking rocks at rabbits. Fire mastery was huge, cooking, warmth, and scaring off beasts. It's why you're grilling burgers, not gnawing raw meat. Their social systems, the OG civilization. Clans. Trade networks and alliances set up sharing, trust, and drama we still deal with. Grug's leadership, Uga's multitasking, even Zog's dumb jokes built community stronger than your group chat. Culture was their gift. Cave art, music, and rituals weren't just vibes. They were humanity's first stabs at meaning. Those paintings inspired every artist from Michelangelo to your cousin's Etsy shop. Bon flutes. That's proto-Spotify. Burials and beliefs laid the groundwork for religion, philosophy, even your horoscope obsession. Migration was their flex. They didn't just stay put. They chased opportunity, dodging ice sheets and colonizing new lands. Their DNA's in you. Homo sapiens outlasted Neanderthals, Denisovans, and every other hominid because they adapted, innovated, and hustled. You're their sequel, for better or worse. Innovation kept rolling. They're sewing clothes, preserving food, and rigging shelters, stuff we still do just fancier. Their trial-error vibe is why we've got iPhones and space rockets. You're whining about slow Wi-Fi. They're inventing needles from bone. Resilience was their core. Starvation, death, cold. They took every punch and kept swinging. That grit's why humanity's still here. Not some saber-toothed trophy. You quit after one bad day, they're laughing at blizzards. Their legacy isn't just physical. They're the reason we tell stories, build teams, and dream big. Every hunt, every cave painting, every trek was a step towards cities, science, and TikTok. Yep, even that. You're living their victory. But you're not half as tough. Imagine Grug seeing your air-conditioned life. He'd club you for being soft. Uga'd scoff at your kale salad. And Zog probably steal your phone for shits and giggles. Their world was brutal, but they built ours mistake by mistake, win by win. You'd be a footnote, dead by noon. Their legacy is proof humans can conquer anything. Ice ages, predators, even their own dumb ideas. Next, we'll dive into their daily grind. Because their routine was a masterclass in survival, and you're not ready for their hustle. Afternoons fading, and you're still not wolf food. Guess miracles do happen, you wobbly kneed rookie. Let's break down the Ice Age daily grind. Because their routine was a survival marathon, and you'd collapse before breakfast. Wake-up's brutal. No alarm, just a cave bear's growl or Zog's morning fart. You're rolling off a lice, ridden fur, breath steaming, already regretting existence. First task, fire. If it's out, you're rubbing sticks till your hands bleed. I'm cursing your ancestors. No fire, no warmth, no food, no chance. You're scavenging twigs or dung while Grug glares. Next, food. Last night's scraps are gone. So you're hunting or gathering? Hunting's a group gig. Grug's leading, Uga's scouting, and you're tripping over snow. You're stalking reindeer, spear shaky. Praying you don't fuck it up. Miss. Everyone's eating roots, and you're the asshole. Gathering's no picnic either. You're digging for frozen tubers or picking berries, half of which might kill you. Uga's pointing out safe plants, but you're too busy whining about thorns. Water's a trick. Melt snow or chip ice from a stream. Spill it, and you're licking the ground. Middays for chores. You're sharpening spears, tanning hides, or fixing the shelter because wind's tearing it apart. Uga's sewing boots. Grug snapping flint and Zulping by throwing rocks at you. No breaks. Slacking means death. Kids are working too, hauling sticks or watching for wolves. Lunch. If you're lucky, it's roasted meat, half burnt for stuck to it, no meat. You're chewing bark like a sad beaver. Meals are quick. Eat, grunt, move on. Afternoons more hustle. You're checking traps, hauling kills, or scouting for tomorrow's hunt. Predators are sniffing around, so you're clutching your spear. Heart pounding, rival clans might raid, so you're piling rocks at the cave entrance. Evenings planning time. By the fire, Grug's mapping the next hunt. Ugga's divvying up tasks, and you're just trying to stay awake. Night's the worst. You're on watch, scanning for glowing eyes, while Zog snores like a chainsaw. Sleep's fitful, cold, cramping, paranoid, dreams, just nightmares of being gored. Every day's the same grind, wake, work, eat, don't die. No weekends, no vacations. Women like Ugga pulled double duty. Hunting, cooking, raising kids, tougher than you. Elders chipped in with tips, like how to spot a bad berry. Even Zog's dumb ass contributed. Mostly to avoid Grug's club. You'd oversleep, burn the meat, and get exiled by noon. Their grind wasn't just physical, was mental. They stayed sharp, focused, and laughed at the cold. You're whining about a long shift. They're out here surviving 24/7. This routine built their legacy. Every spear sharpened. Every fire lit was a step toward our world. You're not cut out for their hustle. Your grind is forgetting your coffee order. Next, we'll talk predators. Because they weren't just surviving nature, they were dodging fangs, and you're not ready for their beastly battles. Night's closing in, and you're still breathing. Pure sorcery, you trembling twig. Let's talk predators, because Ice Age humans weren't just fighting cold. They were dodging a zoo of toothy bastards, hell, bent on making them lunch. Saber-toothed cats, smug assholes with fangs like daggers. One swipe, and your face is a jigsaw puzzle. Dire wolves. They hunt in packs faster than your panic sprint, and they're not here to cuddle. Cave bears. Think grizzly on roids, ready to eat you into next week. You're not Steve Irwin, you're a walking Happy Meal. Rule 1: don't be a loner. Solo strolls get you eaten. You're sticking with the clan? Because numbers scare most beasts. Ugga's on lookout, eyes sharper than your ex's shade, while you're tripping over your own spear. Spot a predator. You've got two moves. Run or fight. Running smarter, but good luck outpacing wolves on an empty stomach. Fighting's a desperate flex. Grug's yelling, you're waving torches, and everyone's poking with spears that feel like toothpicks. Sometimes it works, sometimes just pissing off the beer. Weapons are your edge, but they're janky. Flint-tipped spears break easy, and your aim's shitter than a drunk dart thrower. Bows, fancy, but rare, and arrows take forever to craft. You're not Rambo. You're flailing like a toddler with a slingshot, fires your ace, wave a torch, and wolves usually fuck off. Drop it, and you're toast. Predators don't sleep. Night's their playground, so you're on watch, heart pounding like a techno beat. That shadow could be Zog taking a leak or a saber, tooth sizing you up. You're yelling, banging rocks, anything to seem less edible. Daytime's no safer. You're hunting, but so they steal a wolf kill. They're stealing you next. Even scavengers like hyenas are dicks, snatching your hard meat. Strategy's everything. Grug setting traps, pits or snares, to slow beasts down. Ugga's teaching you to read tracks so you don't stumble into a bear's airbnb. You're learning fast or dying faster. Teamwork saves your ass. Clan's got your back. Ugga's screaming warnings. Grug's chucking spears. Even Zog's not screwing around. Alone, you're dead. Together, you're a problem. Predators shape their lives. Caves were picked for narrow entrances, hard for bears to breach. Fires burn 24/7, a big fuck you. To fangs, kids learn early, dodge or die. You'd scream at a raccoon and sprint into a crevasse. They respected beasts though. Kill a bear. You're wearing its claws, maybe praying to its spirit. They knew predators weren't evil, just hungry like them. You'd be lunch by noon, whining about fairness. These Ice Age badasses danced with death daily, outsmarting fangs while you're scared of a paper cut. Their predator battles hung their grit, smarts, and spears. Next, we'll tackle the environment because the tundra was a cold-hearted bitch, and you're not ready for its wrath. Dawn's creeping up, and you're still not a frozen snack. Witchcraft, you shivering mess. Let's talk environment, Because the Ice Age tundra was a cold-hearted bitch that'd make your polar plunge look like a hot tub. Glaciers the size of small countries squatted on half the planet, leaving a landscape of snow, rock, and misery. Temperatures: -30 Celsius on a nice day. Your fancy parka? It's a tea cozy out here. Wind slicing through you like a pissed-off ninja, and the air's so dry your lips crack like a bad rom-com. The tundra's a wasteland. Sparse grass, stunted bushes, and trees rarer than a good ex-post. Steppe stretches forever, a frozen desert where food's a pipe dream. You're not Instacarting groceries. You're chasing mammoths across this icy void. Water's a hassle. Streams are frozen, lakes are death traps. You're chipping ice or melting snow, praying it's not laced with mammoth piss. Terrain's a traitor. Thin ice? You're drowning. Hidden crevice? You're a goner. Snowdrifts bury you, and avalanches don't care about your feelings. Blizzards hit like a slap from Thor, blinding you for days. You're hunkered in a cave, fire flickering, while Zog farts up the place. They adapted though. Caves were prime real estate. Dry, defensible, but damp and bat infested. No cave, they're rigging bone and hide huts, piling snow for insulation. Fire was their middle finger to the cold, but fuel was scarce. You're trekking miles for twigs or burning dung, smelling like a barnyard. Clothes were survival couture, layered furs, grass, stuffed boots, soon with sun. One rip and you're freezing your ass off. They knew the land like Google Maps. Grugs reading wind patterns, Uggas spotting game trails, and you're just lost whining for a heater. Migration was their hack. Follow the herds, dodge the ice. They crossed continents, no compass, just vibes and starlight. Predators loved this hellscape. Wolves, saber-tooths, and bears were everywhere, and you're on the menu. Even the ground fought back. Permafrost made digging traps a bitch, and mud swallowed your boots. Food was a gamble. Plants, mostly dead. You're eating roots or berries, hoping they don't poison you. Meat's the goal, but hunting in this frozen maze is like playing Dark Souls on hardcore. They turned it into a home, though. Built shelters, tracked seasons, and laughed at the cold. You'd cry when your socks get wet. Their environmental mastery was nuts. Reading snow for tracks, using ice for storage, even fishing through frozen rivers. You're not surviving a day, you're too busy Googling how to not freeze. They bent this icy bitch to their will. While you're begging for a blanket, their grit made our world possible. Every step through that tundra was a fuck you to nature. Next, we'll wrap this up, because their survival was a masterclass, and you're not worthy of their cabman crown. Sun's rising, and you're still not extinct. Frankly, it's bullshit, you soft-bellied whiner. Let's wrap this Ice Age saga, because these humans were survival gods. And you're not fit to lick their flint. They didn't just endure a frozen hell, they owned it, building a legacy while you be sobbing for a laddie. Picture their day. Wake up freezing, dodge a saber-tooth, hunt a mammoth, and still find time to paint a cave masterpiece. Grugs leading, Uggas slaying, even Zog's pulling his weight. Barely. You'd trip over rock and cry for mommy. Their secret? Grit, brains, and a fuck you attitude. They tamed fire, crafted tools sharper than your wit, and turned bones into homes. Starving, they're eating bugs. Cold, they're laughing in furs, predators. They're waving torches like it's a rave. Every scar, every hunt, every shitty day was a step toward our world. They migrated across continents, no GPS, just balls. Cave art, music, rituals. They're inventing culture while you're struggling with TikTok filters. Their clans were tighter than your friend group, sharing meat and shade like pros. Resilience. They took nature's worst and spat in its face. Innovation, they're mag-giver with rocks, spirituality. They're praying to stars while you're begging for Wi-Fi. You wouldn't last a day, frostbite by lunch, wolf food by dinner. Your survival skills are ordering Uber Eats and whining about rain. They faced glaciers, fangs, and starvation, yet built the foundation for cities, science, and your air-conditioned life. Imagine Grug seeing you panic over a dead battery. He'd club you for being a wuss. Ugga'd scoff at your vegan smoothie, and Zog steal your phone for laughs. Their legacy's in your DNA, but you're a pale imitation, soft as a marshmallow. They didn't just survive, they thrived, laughed, and loved in a world that hated them. Every spear, every fire, every story was a middle finger to extinction. You're living their victory, but you're not worthy. Your biggest battle is a slow Starbucks line. So raise a glass to these Ice Age badasses. They conquered a frozen apocalypse while you're complaining about a cold shower. Their hustle, smarts, and sheer audacity made us possible. You'd be a fossil by now. But they're the reason humanity's still kicking? Go thank them. Then maybe try not to die crossing the street. And scene.